Hello everyone. In our last video, we had looked how we did pricing analytics for a restaurant business in Excel. And in this video, we'll be going to look how do we do it the similar kind of manipulations in a BI tool called Tableau. So going over through the case over is here we have one restaurant which is we are running, which is named by my restaurant, and we serve the similar kind of food items which are served by other restaurants as well. So we have restaurant one, two, and three which are serving similar kind of food, and here we are trying to basically see that if we have different types of cuisines and we have different type of dishes. So for different cuisine and different dishes, what is our price competitiveness or understanding that how expensive or how cheap we are compared to other restaurants in the market in order to understand that what deals should we give in our next let's say campaign. For example, if we have an eat campaign, we want to get some more customers in our restaurant to have good biryani or any other dish item. So that would be one thing. If I want to run, let's assume I want to run a Chinese festival where I want to give some discounts on Chinese food items. So I know that what are the prices compare in other restaurants and how much on an average should I reduce the price, to have a good deal during those festivals. Introduce the data set over here. So in the data set, basically we have this is the data for our restaurant where we have the item ID. For each item, we have ID according to cashier system. We have the type of dish, which cuisine does it fall in, what is the item name, what is the price, and what is the discount price, and what is the start and the end date. So we might have some discounts which might go from 11th May to 16th May. It will be valid. There might be some data where we don't have any start and end date, and those would be some bad data errors. So this is the kind of data what we get usually in real life to analyze. And what we have done is we have compared each of these dishes with the same dishes in other restaurants. And here we have collated that data where we have different dishes from different restaurants and what is the price over here. So, so now our objective is to answer a few questions. So we'll be doing an exploratory analysis and answer some questions which are related to the same data set, where we'll be comparing the prices between our restaurant and other restaurant as well. And some questions are related like how much is the highest price item in North Indian dish cuisine, in our Chinese dishes, what is the low price in other restaurants, and which restaurants are having these prices. The third question we'll be evaluating will be that what is our price competitiveness in each type of dish. So in Chinese, how competitive we are with the uh, cheapest restaurant, or and then we'll be comparing how do we rate our prices in North Indian cuisine versus other restaurants. So versus restaurant one, restaurant two, three, what is like how expensive we are and how cheaper we are. I'll just explain how do we download the Tableau. So here is the link where we just put the products public download and we get to this link and click on download. We just have to fill the form and download the app, and then we can get this free version over here. In the free version, the limitation is we can connect to n like limited number of files which we can. And if we want to save the work or save the dashboard what we have built, then we'll have to publish it in the public domain and save it rather than we can't save it on our local machine. So that's one limitation. So going forward, I'll just connect to a Microsoft Excel file, restaurant pricing data analysis. All right, so once I connect to the data, I come to the data source pane. Data source pane usually has different data sources in the connections thing. In sheets for the different connections we have, we can see the different sheets available. And this is the pane where we can drag the tables and do some joins over here. So what I'll do is first I'll get this my restaurant over here, where this is the pricing data for our restaurant. Now the next thing is I want to join this my restaurant with other restaurants because I want to connect with that and get the cheapest price as well. So for that, I'll be dragging this other restaurant and putting it over here. So if you notice, it gives me a warning sign and it shows me that I need to connect between these two via some fields. So I have a common thing, item ID in both of them, which is the item ID for our item, and then it gets connected. So in Tableau, we have two different kinds of join. So one is a relationship, like this is a relationship. If you notice, it's mentioned over here. And if I want to connect, let's say inner join, outer join, or left join, then I have to double click and then do that. So relationships works in a different way. You can read more about it in detail in the Tableau blogs in the website. So currently, I'll just be using a simple join. So for join, I'll just double click over here and we'll go to my restaurant. I'll just put this other restaurant on the side and it gives me a inner join over here. And if I need to just check, if I double click on it, it will tell me that which is the primary and the common key, foreign key over here. And I just close this and I'll just go to sheet one, which is the visualization tab. So here I have my visualization tab. I have my restaurant, other restaurant, and different fields here. Uh, so most of the blue pills are a categorical field, which is either a name, either a date, or a text. While which are the fields which are in green are a numerical field which can have be aggregated in some way. Either I can take a max or a sum or min. So, in this case, the first thing what we are trying to answer is what is the highest price item in North Indian cuisine. So the first thing what we have to do is get the final price of the item. So to get the final price of the item, we'll be uh, like our the current date is lying between these two dates or not. And if it is, then we'll take the discount price. If it is not, then we'll take the original price. So for this, what we'll do is we'll click over here and put a statement over here, which is calculated field, and we'll be using a simple if else statement. So I'll just write final price, and here I'll just write a simple statement. If uh, start date, the start date should be less than equal to today, and end date is greater than equal to today. Then use the discount price, else use the original price. So once I do this, I give this thing and I'll get the final price. So we can just check that. So for each item ID, I'll have the final price. And if I do a sum of it, like final price is a numeric value, and I can tell what aggregation do I need to do over here. So I can just select it and take the max of here. The reason why we do max because it is an inner join. So when it is joined by item ID, there are multiple restaurant and duplicate records which are coming over there. And if we do a sum of it, it will basically calculate the sum of all the prices and give you the final value. Instead, we can take a max of value because these values are already the same. In our North Indian cuisine, we can just put it the type of dish over here and we can put the item name by a field which is descending of final price. So once we do that, we just filter for this. We'll just click on this and do a keep only. And we get the handi biryani, which is 26. Here's the final price. And this is the most expensive item in North Indian cuisine. Now moving to the next question. In the next question, we want to basically check in Chinese cuisine. which is the lowest price in other restaurants and which restaurant is so giving that dish for that price. So here we'll have to do two calculations. One is the calculation for the minimum price across other restaurants, and the other would be to get that which restaurant is serving this particular price. So for this purpose, I'll just duplicate this thing. So in this one, it's question one. Let's do question two. Uh, so the first thing, what I'll do is I'll just create a calculator field and write cheapest price. So to get a cheapest price, we'll be using the group by kind of a statement. So in group by, what do you do is we'll be taking one item ID, which is common across different restaurants, and then we take the minimum of the price in that by grouping it by different item IDs. So for that, every group item ID will get the cheapest price. So we do the same thing, and how it works in Tableau is we use this function called fixed. So fixed is like a group by in SQL, which where we're fixing something. So we're fixing that for each item ID, I need the minimum of the price. And if you notice, it starts with curly brackets, and I'll just end it with curly brackets. So the group in a SQL statement, we usually write group by the different fields. So this is the place where we mention it. Here we mention only item ID because for each item we need the minimum price for from the restaurant. So in the other restaurants we have a field called price, which is a restaurant's price, and then we are just taking the minimum of it. And then we just take this and we put this in text. Or actually, let me just double click on it. It will create a new column. So if you notice, I got the cheapest price for different items over here. And here I'll just edit the filter to Chinese dish. So here I have different prices for like the different cheapest price for each dish. And if I want to just double check on that, what I can do is I can just right click on this and click on view data. So when I see on view data, and I have one view which is summary view, which basically gives me this view itself. And if I want to check the internal data, I can just go to full data and I can check that. So I have this item ID 2003 burnt garlic fried rice. And here I have different prices. So I can add different fields over here. So I want the restaurant and I want to check. Yeah, that's it. So here, if you notice, I have restaurant 1, 2, and 3, which are serving the same dish for 22, 21, and 23. The 22 is my cheapest price. And here I'm getting that same price over here. So this is how the calculation will work. Now my next thing is I want to get the either of these two restaurants. I need to get one restaurant which is serving this product at this price. So I'll be just doing one calculation, which will be cheapest restaurant. And how I'll be doing this is I'll just write an if statement. So if my cheapest price is matching with my price, then I'll take the max of uh, restaurant. So what I'll do is I'll just write the restaurant name. So once I get the list of restaurants, or what I'll do is I'll just take the max. So I'll be taking the max of restaurant. The reason why I'll be doing this because if my cheapest price is matching with multiple restaurant names, then I'll be getting a list of restaurant 1 and restaurant 2. So in this case, my idea is to pick any one restaurant, either picks restaurant 2 or restaurant 1, doesn't matter. So I can put either min, max, whatever I can, and then I can just get that name. So I just put the max over here and click on OK, and I get the cheapest restaurant. And I'll just move it to this tab so I can see the name. If you notice, I see the name restaurant 231, which is serving this particular price. So I want to know more about this, that whether 23 and 22, restaurant 2, am I cheaper? I mean, I am better priced, or maybe I am expensive. So I want to know about this. So I'll just write a calculation over here. Let's say I'll mention the price tag. Let's mention if max or final price. So if my final price is greater than or equal to the sum of cheapest price. So if my price is greater than the cheapest price, then I am expensive. Let me remove the equal to, else I'm better priced. So here I have the price tag, and I have added this price tag in the end. And now I can know that, okay, in the Chinese cuisine, I have price tag as expensive for many products, but I'm better priced in Singapore noodles and paneer chili, which is 22 and 18, which is less than the cheapest price for here. So moving to the next step, now we want to know that for each type of dish, what is our price competitiveness? So how do we decide that is basically here, if you notice, we have total of 8 items, and out of which we have found better priced at 2. So ideally it will be 2 by 8. So if I do that, it comes to 25%. So I'm basically saying that for my restaurant, 25% of items in Chinese are better priced than the cheapest price across other restaurants. So that's how I can conclude, and then I can basically check this same competitiveness compared to other type of dishes. So for this, what we'll be doing is we'll be having a calculation which can help us with doing that. So if you notice, we had the price tag based on sum and max final price. So we just took these two prices, and if it is higher, then we just put this. And this is basically grouped up at the item ID level. So if you notice in our join table, we have one item ID, and we might have multiple restaurants. We took the cheapest across that, and then we compared that price with our price, and we had to take max in one and the sum in other. So what we'll do in this case, we'll try to use this similar kind of thing. So the price competitiveness, the first thing what I need is price tag. Basically, we go to view data, click on any cheapest price and click on view data. When you go to full data, you get this details, and I'll just hover to the right, and if you notice, we have price tag for one thing, which is expensive, 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 and this is grouped up for a complete item ID. So in our field, what we'll be doing is, so first what we'll be doing is we'll be grouping it. So what I need is fixed item ID. So I'm grouping it by an item ID, and I just want to know a price tag. The price tag is the same. So I'll just close it in this way. So if you notice, for each item ID, I'll get one price tag. Now, the next thing is I want to know that if my price tag is equal to better priced, then I want to count the item IDs. So I want to count the item IDs, and I'll be dividing that by the total number of item IDs. So for this, I'll just take item ID and I'll end it. And on top of this, I'll just write a function that I want to count. And I want to count distinct item IDs. So when I do this, I get to know that how many item IDs are there which are better priced. And let me just try to duplicate this. All right, so what I'll do is I'll just remove all these things. All right, so I know I have Chinese and I want to know, just add this and I get to know that's 2. And now I just want to divide this by count distinct of item IDs. And then when I do this, I get 0.25, which is 25%. So I'll just go over here, click on format option and go to this called default in numbers and then just change this to percentage and reduce the decimal places to 0. So I get 25% price comp. And now I'll remove this filter so that I can get the price comp for each type of cuisine or each type of dish. All right, so moving to the next question. Now we want to know that for North Indian itself, for each restaurant, what is the price comp? Like, am I better? Am I not? So for this, what we'll be doing is, let me duplicate this. And here we have North Indian. So I'll just select this. And I have different restaurants. And I'll just remove the price comp. I have restaurant 1, 2, 3. And I have different item IDs and item name. And I have the price for this. And just put in text, get the values over here. And now my next step is to see that what is my competitiveness in each of them. So I'll take my final price and in the final price, I'll just move this to maximum. So I have the price over here. This is our price and this is the price of the competitor, the other restaurant. So now I be calculating the same thing. So I'll be doing the price tag itself, but I'll be seeing uh, in each of them. So let me check this. We are taking this from the cheapest price. Here we won't be doing that. So I'll just duplicate this. Max of final price and this thing, then it's expensive, this is better price. So now I have a price tag copy, which is showing me expensive, better priced in each of them. And now I'll just be arranging my price competitiveness. I'll just copy this and I'll have this arranged for each restaurant. So in our price competitiveness restaurant, we need to add fixed by item ID and restaurant as well because we are grouping this better priced by at a restaurant level as well. So for this reason, we add restaurant in group by and then get the count over here, which we divided by the total number of items over here. Once we do that, we get the price competitiveness for each restaurant. And then we know that we are better priced compared to restaurant 2, but restaurant 3, we are only 50% competitive. Great. Thank you so much for watching.